What happened to the smartest kid at your high school? I couldn't tell you what 99% of people from my high school are doing now. He was actually quite overweight. When he left for college, he was studying physics. Couple of years later, I learned that he lost 175 pounds, became super into fitness, dropped out of college and became a gym trainer. Physics to physiques. He's a NASA scientist, while I just come on Reddit. He lives in the same small village he was living in when we were in school, is married with kids and apparently works in an office in the nearest town. He had aspirations of becoming a surgeon when we were in school. It didn't happen, but it sounds like he's living a good life regardless. The smartest kid in my high school class was definitely not the valedictorian. Same here. Surprisingly, ours was outside smokin' pot but ended up an early Simi Valley entrepreneur, computer whiz. Sold his business. Now is consulting. The good kind with young computer engineers and leading them to their next best steps. Great human being. Funny as ever and definitely not the valedictorian type. He went on to study business and Chinese and now he's a businessman in China. That's certainly a thing you would do with that education. Seriously, props to his guidance counselor. Son, what do you want to do after school? I want to be a businessman in China. Then let me recommend studying business and Chinese. My guidance counselor. Son, what do you want to do after school? I want to be a businessman in China. Then let me recommend studying Mesopotamian poetry appreciation. I still talk to him. He's a good friend of mine, still. He's an engineer at Google now. I am not. I am also not. Became a doctor, decided it wasn't for her and went to law school. Is currently a barrister as far as I know. A barrister at Starbucks. I graduated in a class of 18 people, edit. I was co-valedictorian. Thanks to social media and my mother sending me the local paper for years, I can tell you what happened to all of them. 2 are dead. 3 are in jail, including my co-valedictorian, child molestation. 3 work in healthcare, RNs and radiologists, etc. 1 is a FEMA inspector, she's in Kissimmee right now. 2 work for the Cherokee Nation. 1 is a roofer. 1 has been fired as a jail guard, violence toward inmates, and kicked out of a church as pastor for embezzlement. 1 is a high school basketball coach. 1 is an openly gay cop in Austin, which I find fascinating considering where we came from. 2 are meth heads who dropped off the map. And I got college scholarships, left my shitty town for an English degree and the promise of the great American novel. Instead I became a college advisor, married a college professor, had a great kid later in life, and then semi-retired last year to be the single cook at my son's small private school. Today I made sour cream chicken enchiladas with a roasted tomatillo sauce from scratch. Truly living my best life. #ClassOff88. Valedictorian. She went on to find she was pregnant 2 months after her graduation. She declined college scholarships because her boyfriend made her a stay-at-home mom. She got jailed for 2 years for assault. Husband got the kids air when he got out of the hospital. She got 5 years. Now she tries to hit you up on Facebook and Indeed for marketing opportunities for her mom's salutatorian. He went to MIT on full ride. And now designs cooling systems and filtration systems for NASA. Basically his job is to make sure it doesn't look like a snow globe in the shuttles. He had a twin. His identical twin is now a department manager for the Eat department at Walmart. Died of a heroin overdose freshman year in his dorm room at Ohio State. Not my class, but the grade below, valedictorian, took a ton of easy classes, and beat out the salutatorian who took way more difficult AP classes. She ended up going to a community college, got pregnant quick, and isn't doing much. Salutatorian. Went to MIT, and is a legit rocket scientist. I don't know, do people really keep track of what happened to their classmates? She's currently going to medical school at Duke University. Same with my sister. I am the dumb one, haha. He's a scientist, something related to nutrition, and a big fitness YouTuber. What was it like going to school with Jeff? I watch a lot of his content. As an interesting anecdote, he might have started go to the gym during the last couple years of grade school but was still unassuming and tiny. I removed him from Facebook shortly after and was pretty dumbfounded when I stumbled upon his channel years later. It's not hard to believe he was that successful but didn't expect to see him jacked or on YouTube. Also, we lived in a relatively small and pretty redneck town. There were social groups and cliques like an 80s movie. Of the popular kids or jocks, he was the only one to actively oppose his friends bullying people. She went to college, got her master's degree, started medical school, got pregnant and has been a stay-at-home mom for 20 years. He had an offer to work on a nuclear submarine, I shit you not. But he failed the drug test. The last person he smoked with. Me. I felt horrible. AMA. Nah, just kidding. Not my class, like 15 years after I graduated. I visited my HS to see an old teacher who was retiring. While talking to the principal, he tells me about this student who was legit one of the most brilliant students the school had had in decades. He wanted to be a chef. I am one. Cut to the graduation and he is due to give his speech. The one they approved was totally dropped. He gave a scathing tirade against all the teachers for not supporting him and kept pushing him to not follow his dreams and to just go to regular college. I heard it was brutal. Kid had a scholarship to several top culinary programs already. His family owned a successful restaurant. He is a happy chef. His family doesn't support the school anymore. My year's smart folks are all married and grandparents by now. Sometimes the smartest people are the ones who figure out what would make them happy, and they do that. The valedictorian at my colleague's school decided to skip college, move to some island in the Caribbean and sell fruit on the beach. Some people get stuck on intelligence means to pursue a difficult subject with tougher barriers of entry and make significant income. Just be smart enough to decide what you want in life and figure out what would make you happy earning to make that life happy. Completely fell off the radar. I assume he's running some sort of nefarious think tank for a huge tech company or something. He went to college and double majored in business and biomechanical engineering at a very good school. Graduated, and is apparently doing research for some big company. Dude is smart as fuck. Got falsely accused of SAW, won the court case after proving he wasn't in the town when the SAW supposedly happened, nearly unalived himself, got sent to US where he now is. He had disappeared, and since nobody heard about him. He did well for himself. Shocking. He took 6 years to finish college and graduated with a chemical dependency problem that took another 6 years to get over. He has a low-key job now and is reliable, if unremarkable. Some would say he never realized his potential, but he's content and doesn't really care what people say. Professor at Cambridge University. I was friends with the guy who had the second highest GPA in our class. He created a business renting out and managing office equipment. I lost touch with him, but I just Google his business. It's still open, and he's still the owner, after 15 to 20 years. Glassdoor says it's worth 5 to 25 million United States dollars. The one older than me went to MIT and then Stanford. He's doing something tech-related in Silicon Valley or something like that. The one younger than me, and I never knew he was this smart, wound up at Harvard Medical and then was a Fulbright scholar. He's a doctor in New England somewhere and his wife is also a Harvard doctor. 7 hells. These are the dream for smart kids. The problem of all the smartest guys at schools is that nobody fucking knows anything about them. He was my investment advisor. I wasn't overly impressed with him, but I trusted him. We are all retired now. This story is very different if you're 30 versus 70-year-old. I married her. So she couldn't have been the smartest, JK lol. Knew a guy who was really smart, but also was kind of a shitbag. He got caught a couple years back producing a ton of fentanyl at his aunt or grandma's house, I think. Yeah, Mr. White. Yeah, science. Male. Got a 4.0 from a top public university, studied financial mathematics, became a quantitative trader. Female. Graduated summa cum laude from an Ivy and is now in medical school. Male. Didn't go to grad, or prom. Did a 1-year college program and now works in a vastly unrelated blue-collar job. Crazy turn of events TBH. Female. Became an engineer, married an engineer. Happily ever math tear. I mean, after. If by smart, you mean highest grades and test scores, she married Ted Cruz. Saddest story here. My deepest condolences to her loved ones. He went to college and washed out in the first semester. He works at a gas station. Source. I was valedictorian of my graduating class, and couldn't hack it in college. Last I saw our class valedictorian, 40 years ago, when we were about 21, he bragged about he and a couple of friends breaking into a logging company's powder shack to steal the explosives. He was disappointed that they failed to ignite under the bridge they had selected. It is very depressing to know that I'm stupider than him. What? He tried to blow a bridge up? I got the impression that it was a logging road bridge, but yes, that is what he claimed. He was always described as scary smart. Equal parts, apparently. My best friend was arguably the smartest kid in my school, or one of the smartest. Had a lot of inner demons, passed away young because of those inner demons. My best friend is that guy. His demons haven't killed him yet, but honestly it's just a matter of time. I'm sorry for your loss. It's so hard to see someone you care about lose that fight. There were 3 I would argue were the smartest. They were all neck and neck for the valedictorian and salutatorian title. 2 of them I was never really close to, so I have no idea what they're doing exactly. One of them moved out halfway across the country and had a child, and the other was a Jehovah's Witness, and there was something about them not being allowed to go to university for what they wanted to do. Other than that I don't know what they're doing. The other was actually a good friend I knew since the 3rd grade, but we fell in and out of each other's lives. Life changed directions for them as far as aspirations go. Originally, he was part way through a master's program for human kinetics, but he realized it wasn't going to pan out as expected, so he went into teaching. Now he's married, has a kid, and overall happy, I believe. He barely graduated due to giving up on public school, joined the army for 1 term to get out of his rural improvised town. He struggled for 15+ years to make ends meet, and at his mid-40s is finally buying a house and is on track to retire at 55. Being the smartest out of a class of 100 isn't that exceptional. The smartest kid went to an esteemed aerospace university but had to move back home due to medical issues. No idea what happened to him there. The valedictorian, smartest on paper, works as an OB/GYN in upstate New York. The most successful, a musical TikTok star with 12 million followers. Columbia Med School, brain surgeon. Has 6 kids to 5 different fathers and is currently being investigated for massive benefit fraud.